Hi students, welcome back to another class of power amplifiers. Now in this class or in this lecture we will discuss about class B power amplifier. So far we have discussed about class A power amplifier. Now we will discuss about class B power amplifier. We know the basic concept or the basic principle in class B power amplifier. It is going to be allowing only one half cycle. Let us move on to what is the basic principle, how it is going to be represented, and what are the different types of class B power amplifiers we have, and what are their efficiencies. Now we know that class B power amplifier is going to be allowing only one half cycle, and let us see this. In the previous scenario, in the class A amplifier, the operating point is chosen exactly in the middle of the DC load line. Now the operating point is chosen nearer to cutoff, and it is very clear from this figure. The operating point is shifted towards the cutoff, which is nearer to the x-axis. Whenever you are trying to move towards the x-axis, we know the problem. It is going to be removing or eliminating negative half cycle of the signal. Now see this, in this case it is going to be only allowing one half cycle and the remaining half cycle gets eliminated. That is what is the basic principle of operation in class B power amplifier. It allows only one half cycle, and in this class B power amplifier we have two types. One is push-pull class B audio frequency power amplifier, and second one is complementary symmetry class B audio frequency power amplifier. We will discuss about both these two types of class B amplifiers and we try to derive their efficiencies also. Now let us move on to first one called push-pull class B power amplifier. The meaning of this push-pull is one transistor pushes the signal, another transistor pulls the signal. That's why it is called as push-pull transistors. Push-pull transistor configurations, we call it as a push-pull class B amplifier. Now here we have a driver transformer, and this driver transformer is going to be receiving the signal from the input source, and it is going to be providing the signal to the transistor Q1 as well as transistor Q2. Now let us see, the operation is very simple. Now the output is connected again across the load. Now most of the cases you can see here we are using transformer coupling. In push-pull class B amplifier we are trying to use a transformer coupling. Even at the input stage, even the two collectors of the transistor stages are connected together to the primary of a center transfer transformer. This is the tapping that has been done at the primary side, which is normally a difficult task. This is one major problem. You try to apply a VCC here, that VCC is going to be appearing to the upper half as well as the lower half. Means you need to connect exactly in the middle. Then only you will ensure that the number of windings in the upper portion and the number of winding in the lower portions are equal. Then only the voltages in the upper portion and the lower portion are made equal. Otherwise you will try to get a sort of a distortion in the output side. This is one problem. Now let us see that the basic working of class B push-pull amplifier. You apply a positive half cycle. This point A will be becoming positive and this point B will be becoming negative. Plus, minus, plus and minus. And you know this is NPN transistor. This is also NPN transistor. You try to provide a positive to the base, then only the transistor is going to on, until that it is going to becoming off. Each transistor is going to function for only one half cycle. You try to apply positive half cycle, this end is becoming plus and this is minus, this is plus and minus. For positive half cycle, Q1 is going to on, Q2 is going to off. As a result, this is what VCC and we have a current flow through this winding, and the current will flow through this. This is what is the basic current direction for positive half cycle. As a result, we have a current that is going to be flowing the secondary of the transformer, and the signal will be gets delivered across the load. When you try to apply a negative half cycle, the point A will be becoming negative and point B is becoming as a positive, means minus, plus, minus and plus. Because of this, Q1 transistor becomes off and Q2 transistor becomes on. Now the VCC is going to flow from VCC towards the another or lower half of the transformer, and it will flow through this. This is what is the direction of current flow for a negative half cycle. Out of these two transistors, Q1 and Q2, only one transistor is going to be conducting for one half cycle. One half cycle. Now let us see the diagrams. As we have already discussed, you try to apply a positive half cycle, point A is going to be becoming as a positive and it is becoming as a negative, Q2 is off and Q1 is on, which is resulting this circuit. We are ignoring the transistor Q2 because it is not conducting, it is in the offset, we are removing it. Now from VCC, the upper portion of the transformer, and the current is going to be flowing like this. Because of this, we have a current that is going to be producing in the secondary of the transformer, and this is what is the direction of a current, plus to minus, and going to be producing or delivering the signal across the load called as a loudspeaker. And for negative half cycle, point A is becoming as a negative and point B is becoming as a positive. Q1 is going to off and Q2 is going to on. Now in this scenario, this transformer lower half comes into picture, upper half we are not going to be using it. This VCC, the lower portion of the secondary, the lower portion of the transformer primary, and through the collector, this is what is the direction of the current. And it is allowing only the negative half cycle, and we are not bothering about this positive. Now this is going to be producing, because it is a plus and minus, it is a plus and minus, this is what is the current direction. Now these two current directions are opposite, means one is for positive, another one is going to be producing a negative half cycle. This is the basic principle involved in a class B push-pull amplifier. These are corresponding output waveforms we have. This is the source current and this is the base current. Whichever we are shading, that will be on, and the remaining portions are in the off. The transistor 1 is conducting for positive half cycles, transistor 2 is conducting for the negative half cycles. The negative we are quoting with the 180 degrees phase shift here. This is what is indicating the conduction. This is what we are indicating the conduction. Now this is IC1 and this is the IC2, IC1 and IC2, and correspondingly this is the load current that is going to be flowing. The complete cycle is going to be following at the output side, which is a power amplified signal. This is what is our source signal, and this is the power amplified signal which is going to be delivered across the load. But remember, every transistor or each transistor, or let us make very clearly, one transistor is allowing only one half cycle. You need to ensure the operating point will be chosen in such a way that the transistor is going to allow only one half cycle. This is what is the basic principle of operation. Now we need to derive what is the efficiency of this class B power amplifier. For this we need to derive both the DC power as well as AC power. Let us move on to how to derive that DC power. Let us see that the DC operation. We need to adjust that operating point, and you need to make that operating point, or you need to shift that operating point towards the x-axis, where VCQ is going to be becoming VCC and ICQ is equal to 0. And we know that every transistor is allowing only one half cycle, and we have already come across in the half wave rectifier. In half wave rectifier, IDC is equal to I average, which is equal to IM by pi. Similarly here also we consider every transistor allowing only one half cycle. IDC is equal to I average is equal to IM by pi. For both the transistors together, the total DC component which is given by IDC is equal to Im by pi plus Im by pi. This Im by pi is for transistor 1 and this Im by pi is for transistor 2. These two together for transistor 1 and 2, the overall IDC which is equal to 2 Im by pi. The total DC power input is given by, we know the formula, PDC equal to VCC into IDC. You substitute this IDC which is equal to 2 Im by pi, you will get PDC is equal to 2 Im by pi into VCC. Now let us come to the AC operation. This one we have already seen the diagram, where the operating point is chosen as nearer to the x-axis, and this VCEQ is made as VCC. It is made as a VCC. Now let us see what is that Imax, I minimum, then Vmax and V minimum. Imax which is equal to Im, I minimum which is equal to, let us say 0, because this is also same as that of that operating point. Operating point is now chosen towards that x-axis. Whenever you try to choose on the x-axis exactly at the 0, which is called as an origin, the complete negative half cycle is going to be removed. Same case, you try to choose the operating point nearer to the y-axis, nearer to that IC, where VC is becoming as a 0. You try to choose here, VC is becoming as a 0, where the positive half cycle is going to be removed and you are going to be getting only the negative half cycle. But here we have chosen the operating point on the x-axis, and it allows only the positive half cycle, and it allows it removes the negative half cycle. Now this Imax equal to Im, and all these values you are going to be substituting for the calculation of PAC. Now we are using the transformer, and we have, because of the transformer, we have a reflected load on the primary, because at the secondary you are trying to connect a load RL. Due to this RL connected at the secondary, we have a reflected load impedance existing on the primary. We have already discussed about this, and we know the formula for this, RL dash, which is a reflected load impedance due to the load impedance connected across the secondary. RL dash equal to RL divided by N square, where N is the number of turns ratio between the secondary and the primary. N is equal to N2 divided by N1. And this is very much clear from the diagram. You are making a tapping at the primary. The number of turns in the primary is more compared to the number of turns in the secondary. This is 2N1 and this is N2. Now the slope of the AC load line, which is equal to minus 1 by RL dash, which we have already discussed about this, and the DC load line is passing in a vertical line. This is what the DC load line. It's a vertical line where VCEQ is equal to VCC, because it's a constant. That's why we are having this DC load line as a vertical line, and it is a constant one. Now you try to express this slope 1 by RL dash, which is equal to Im by Vm. Im is the peak current and Vm is the peak voltage. We have already discussed about this equation also. The slope of the AC load line which is equal to 1 by RL dash, which is equal to Im by Vm. Let us move on to the AC power output. The AC power output we are always try to measure in the RMS. Vrms is equal to Vm by root 2 and IRMS is equal to Im by root 2. And PSC is equal to V into I, Vrms into IRMS, IRMS square into RL dash, which is equal to Vrms square by RL dash. These are the three different formula you can be able to use for the calculation of PSC. Otherwise we can quote PSC equal to Vm Im by 2. You try to substitute Vrms equal to Vm by root 2, IRMS equal to Im by root 2, Vm by root 2 into Im by root 2, that gives you Vm Im by 2. Similarly, you try to substitute here, you will get Im square into RL dash divided by 2. You try to substitute Vrms here, which is Vm by root 2, you get Vm square by 2 RL dash. And we know the efficiency formula, eta is equal to PSC by PDC into 100, and you try to substitute PSC as well as the PDC. PSC which is equal to Vm Im by 2 and PDC is equal to 2 by pi into VCC, into Im, because we have already calculated IDC into VCC. IDC is equal to 2Im by pi. That's what we are substituting here. 2Im by pi into VCC. You try to simplify this, you will get percentage of efficiency which is equal to pi by 4 into Vm by VCC into 100. And we know the maximum value and the minimum values from the previous graph. The maximum value of Vm is VCC, and you try to substitute Vm is equal to VCC. This VCC gets cancelled. You will get pi by 4 into 100. That pi by 4 into 100 gives you 78.5%. We have already seen in the previous case the transformer coupled class A power amplifier has an efficiency of 50%. Now see, the efficiency, because of using the true transformers, efficiency has been increased to 78.5%. But in practical, we are not going to be achieving this 78.5%. It will be around 65 to 70% only. Now let us move on to the calculation of the power dissipation. We have the power dissipation in both the transistors. We need to take the difference between the AC power output and the DC power output, because we are using both the transistors. Now the power dissipation in the circuit that is given by PD is equal to PDC minus PAC. We have already calculated both the PDC as well as PAC, substituting them. 2Im by pi into VCC minus Vm Im by 2. We know the formula for Im. Im is equal to Vm by RL dash. Here also the same thing. You try to substitute Im is equal to Vm by RL dash. And you try to assume that if we don't have any AC signal at all. If we don't have any AC signal, Vm is equal to 0. If Vm is equal to 0, this term is becoming as a 0 and this term is also becoming as a 0. As a result, the total power dissipation is 0 and not the maximum. Here there will be no power dissipation. The maximum power dissipation you are trying to get by differentiating the above equation with respect to Vm, and we will try to make equal to 0. Then we can be able to calculate what is the maximum power dissipation in this class B push pull amplifier. Now if you differentiate that PD with respect to Vm, you will get here 2 Vm by pi RL dash minus 2 Vm by 2 RL dash, and you equate it to 0, because we are trying to solve to calculate what is the maximum value of Vm, and we are trying to get a Vm is equal to 2 by pi into VCC, and you try to substitute that in the power dissipation. You will get the maximum power dissipation. PD max is equal to 2 by pi into VCC into 2 by pi into VCC into 1 by RL dash minus 2 by pi into VCC whole square into 1 by 2 RL dash. You try to simplify it, you will get the maximum power dissipation, which is equal to 2 by pi square into VC square by RL dash. Means that the maximum power dissipation depends upon how much of a supply voltage you are applying and whatever the reflected load impedance we have, because of the load that has been connected across the secondary at the output stage.